Welcome to Dig Deep, the mining podcast. In this podcast, we go deep into mining news, hot topics, and live interviews with mining professionals and leading figures in the mining industry. Introducing your host, Rob Tyson, founder and director of Mining International and Mining International Executive, a leading global mining recruitment and headhunting agency.
Hi mining community, welcome back to another episode of the Dig Deep, the mining podcast, the show that brings you the latest insights, thought leadership and stories from across the global mining industry. In today's episode, I'm joined by Jody Kuzenko, President and CEO of Torex Gold Resources. Under her leadership, Torex has established itself as a leading intermediary gold producer with strong footprint in Mexico. We're going to talk about the successful completion of the Medina Luna project, to recent acquisitions, Torex approach to operating in Mexico, and the company's impressive share price performance. We're also going to look at ahead at what's next for Torex over the coming 6 to 12 months, and much more. Hi, Jody. Welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Morning, Rob. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
No worries. And I think this is the third time, or maybe even full time, that you've been on the podcast. So those that are listening, if you haven't listened to the previous episodes, do appreciate if you can also have a look at when Jody's been on previously. But for those that may not know you, which I'm sure a lot of audience will, just wondering if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your career, how you got into the industry and how your career's developed to what it is today.
Yeah. I presently hold the role of President and CEO of Torex, and I have a long career in mining, growing up in a mining capital, or the nickel capital of the world, in Sudbury, Ontario. So the daughter of a beat mechanic who worked in the storied Stobie mine for the then Inco asset, and that was my heritage. And grew up in Sudbury, went away to school, came back, worked at Inco for the better part of 18 years as Inco became Vale, and then made the big leap from Canadian base metal mining to Mexican gold mining in 2018. That's when I became the Chief Operating Officer of Torex, operating at the then ELG, El Limón Guajes asset. Since then, we've produced a lot of gold at ELG, more than 3.5 million ounces. And we've brought on our Media Luna project, which will see us mining in Guerrero, Mexico for decades to come, I'm sure. And so I have to say, being the CEO of this company during this period of time has been the privilege of my career. Have an excellent team, an outstanding asset, and we are on a growth trajectory that truly is exciting for everyone involved.
Yeah, good to hear. I wonder if you could just give us a snapshot of Torex Gold for those that may not know much about the company.
Yep. We're a mid-tier gold producer headquartered in Toronto, Canada. We trade on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Our market cap today is about $4.5 billion Canadian. Our operating asset, our main asset, is in a place called Guerrero, Mexico. It's called the Morelos Complex. Think big land package, big asset, 29,000 hectares. Its location is in the Guerrero Gold Belt, equidistant about from Acapulco and Mexico City. We are the largest gold miner in Mexico. Last year, we produced more than 450,000 ounces. We have about 1,400 employees and another 3,000 contractors. And I'm proud to say that 99% of our workforce is from Mexico, more than half of them from the local communities right around our mine in Guerrero. Historically, the mine has been a combination of open pit and underground mining. Over the course of this last year, we transitioned with our Media Luna project to be an underground miner only. The Media Luna project itself, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit, was $1 billion build, located about 7 kilometers away from the existing infrastructure at Morelos, so our processing plant. In order to access this deposit, we had to do a 7-kilometer long tunnel underneath the Balsas River to come up to the bottom of the deposit. So an absolute feat of engineering, which will see us in really good stead to access all of the wealth that we see on that south side of the Balsas River. Significant opportunity ahead of us at Morelos. We have about 10 million ounces in the resource base, about 5 million ounces sit in reserves today. And the land package itself, that big package, remains about 75% unexplored. And so lots of upside there. As you touched on, we also made some recent acquisitions. So we're no longer a single asset company. We're a single asset producer still, but no longer a single asset company. And I do want to finish up this bit, Rob, with a comment about the character of our company. When CEOs are often asked about their organization, they talk about tons and grade and cash flow and all of that, which is important. It's critically important. But I think one of the things that sets Torex apart from its peers is the character of our company and our team and the fact that we work with purpose and have for a long time. I think we're a company that is reputed to be excellent operators. We are known for delivering on the commitments we make. And I will say we are a company that believes that you can make a lot of money and deliver a lot of value for shareholders and do good things in the world. Our purpose statement, we coined it a couple of years ago, that we take finite mineral resources and turn them into lasting prosperity by positively impacting the lives of the people that we touch. And so I think that gives you a sense of the values of the organization. We're delivering returns for our shareholders. We're delivering major projects. We're delivering on our production and cash flow commitments. And we're doing good things in the world.
First of all, we'll obviously congratulate on the completion of the Media Luna project. Certainly, obviously, a huge milestone for the company this year. What does that mean for the future of the operation in Mexico and for Torex Gold?
In short, it means the future is very bright in Mexico. We declared commercial production at Media Luna in Q2 of this year. The construction period was 3 years long, and even a little bit longer if you count some of those early works, the driving of that 7-kilometer long tunnel. And I will say, Rob, 2 things I'm very proud of. Media Luna came in largely on schedule and on budget. A complex brownfield build just north of $1 billion over a 3-year period. And the fact that the team delivered that largely on schedule and on budget, I think sets us apart from many of our peers. It's a bit anomalous in the gold industry space, if not the mining industry more broadly. The other thing that I think sets us apart is Torex paid for the Media Luna build largely through cash flow from our El Limón Guajes operations. We didn't do a stream. We didn't do a royalty. We didn't do an equity raise. We did the hard work. We produced the gold to generate the cash to pay for the future. We concluded that build just over $200 million in debt. That asset at today's prices will see us generating north of $400 million of free cash a year, not EBITDA, not some other manufactured metric, free cash. And so that debt will be paid down rapidly. And now we have the opportunity to make really intelligent capital allocation decisions. In terms of the deposit itself at Media Luna, the maiden reserve was 3.3 million ounces at 4.5 gram a ton gold equivalent. And we're now measuring ourselves in gold equivalent because with the onset of Media Luna, we become a copper producer. At steady state production, we'll produce about 45 million pounds of copper a year out of Media Luna. And the other important thing about Media Luna is where it's situated on the south side of that Balsas River is a very rich cluster of deposits. It has EPO, it stands for early production ore, but EPO is a little deposit to the north that we're finishing the feasibility study on now. We expect to be mining out of EPO by the end of 2026. It has Media Luna West to the west, east. Media Luna East is another very interesting area for us, and Media Luna South. And so we see the infrastructure that we invested in for Media Luna, this $1 billion, all of the work around that, the power, the water, the tunnel, the conveyor through the tunnel, that will see us in very good stead as we are good stewards of this asset over the next 10 and 20 years. Today, we have mine life at 450,000 ounces. out for another 5 years. And I expect you will see Torex continue to add more to that mine life as we bring on EPO, Media Luna West, Media Luna East, very capital efficiently now that that heavy lift in capital has been made to build up Media Luna. So we see, in short, decades of mining to come in Guerrero. We've made a remarkable difference in those communities and in that state, and we plan to be continuing to do that for years to come.
As you mentioned, you've made some recent headlines with obviously acquisitions of Reyna Silver and Prime Mining. Just wondering if you can tell the viewers a little bit more about these transactions.
Yeah, we're very excited about both. They came together in space and time during the course of the summer. And I was joking with my team that while everybody else is on holiday, Torex team is grinding it out to get these acquisitions done. The reality is that on a parallel path, when we were doing the work on Media Luna, we knew that as Media Luna was wrapping up, we would want to be ahead of what was next. So we were working on a parallel path on M&A in 3 fronts, I would say. Looking for another producing asset, add another leg to the stool. A single asset producer is something that we don't aspire to be for the rest of the life of Torex. So we were looking there for another producing asset. Weren't able to find something at the right price at the right time for us, but we did find a collection of early stage exploration assets in Reyna Silver. We got 4 for 1 there, really, which was exciting for us. And we did find our next project in the Los Reyes asset owned by Prime Mining. Reyna Silver was an all-cash acquisition, $26 million US, and we ended up buying 4 assets, 2 in Chihuahua, Batopilas and Gigi, in a very prolific mining area in Chihuahua, Mexico, and 2 in Nevada that we're very excited about. So making our way into the US with Griffin and Medicine Springs. And those 2 assets are on the tail end of the prolific Carlin trend. And so with those acquisitions, our exploration team that we've really substantially bolstered over the last 3 years has now a lot of area to work in, and we really don't have to rely on late stage M&A. We did it early stage. It's a longer term play for our investors, but I think the view is worth the climb there because that's where real value is created. In terms of the Prime acquisition, that came back to back after the Reyna Silver assets. Prime is located near Cosala in the state of Sinaloa, to the north of us in Mexico. Much later stage. It's been drilled off by Scott Hicks and his team, who did an exceptional job doing all of the drilling and declaring the maiden resource. There is about 3 million ounces in resource there, 75 million ounces in silver. And so with the Prime acquisition, we now become a gold, copper, silver company. And it means that we are inching our way to becoming this mid-tier, Americas-focused precious metals producer through staged, sequential, intelligent acquisitions. One of the things we like the most about Prime is that it's ready for study. It's ready to do the preliminary economic assessment, and we'll take it through the study phases to PFS and then feasibility study over the next couple of years. And we hope to be producing out of that asset right around the end of the decade. And so if we can't find the one we want to buy, we'll build it ourselves. I think our project team has demonstrated to our investors and to the market that we are capable of building complex projects in difficult places. And we look to import that skill and experience and knowledge base and team to building out the next one and creating value that way.
With these obviously recent transactions, you seem to be doubling down on Mexico, which is obviously regarded as a tough jurisdiction for mining companies. What are your thoughts there, and how Torex has managed to navigate successfully in obviously a tough environment?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that Mexico can be interesting and challenging. However, for Torex, I think it's going exceptionally well. I've always said you need 2 things really to run a successful mining company. You need the rocks and you need the people. And in the situation of Torex, we really have both. In Guerrero, we are in the prolific Guerrero Gold Belt. In Chihuahua and now Sinaloa, historical mining jurisdictions that have produced millions of ounces of gold and silver. And so we're really buoyed and bolstered about the geology of the regions we're operating in. And in terms of the people, I mean, many of my peers who operate in Canada and the US have a lot of concerns about how tight the labor market is, inflationary pressure in those countries, how difficult it is to build projects and get permitted for projects. And so I would say in Mexico, we have a track record of attracting and retaining talent as we need it. We have a track record of getting the labor and the skills as we need them to operate our mines and build projects. And so I'm quite bullish about Mexico. I'll say two more things. This recent administration under the leadership of Claudia Sheinbaum has indicated that they have an agenda that is consistent with the agenda of mining. What do I mean by that? She's got big aspirations for an infrastructure agenda. She is a huge proponent of clean energy. You need mining for clean energy. She is deeply passionate about eradicating poverty. And what better pathway to eradicating poverty than creating good paying, safe jobs in jurisdictions that may be beyond the reach of state governments or federal governments. And so when you have that kind of alignment and you have a willingness to enter into dialogue with the industry, I think that spells good things for Mexico. Torex, in terms of its M&A strategy, isn't confined to Mexico. We just knew we had a tactical advantage there, so wanted to play into it with both exploration and our next development play. But we are still on the hunt for that next producing asset in the Americas, Canada, the United States, Mexico, maybe some jurisdictions in Latin America. Our story is far from written here.
Earlier this week, it was announced that Torex was named as one of the top 30 performers on the TSX. And I suppose, in fact, Torex ranked 14th with a total return of 347% on your share price performance over the last 3 years. So congratulations on that. Obviously, it's quite an achievement. What do you attribute those results actually to?
Those numbers are truly astounding. I mean, just over the course of last year, our share price is up over 100%. I would say I attribute it first and foremost to our team. We have a talented group of individuals who are committed, who work tirelessly to deliver these results. One of our key strategic pillars is to retain and attract best industry talent. And we work hard at that. Once we get those people in, we work hard at creating a culture that allows them to stay here and develop and grow and do the next thing and the next thing with us. And so it starts with the executive team and down on into the organization. The other thing I would say that we've done is 5 years ago, we set a very clear strategy with 6 pillars in it. Retain and attract industry talent is one of them. And we have not wavered from that. We've just been working inside that strategy tirelessly for 5 years. And it is beautiful for me over the course of the last 3 years in particular to see this plan come together. Successfully delivering Media Luna, investing $45 million in Morelos to really back the drill bit and demonstrate the resource potential of that asset, with Morelos as now the cornerstone or the flagship asset, generating $400 to $450 million a year at spot prices. Now we can move on to intelligent capital allocation, and we will return capital to shareholders in the form of a buyback and a dividend, which we expect to be announced later this year. And we've taken, as we've discussed, the first big steps in diversifying from being a single asset producer. We now have early stage exploration in Chihuahua and Nevada, and we have what's next on the project pipeline. And so pretty excited about where we are. I will say that the gold price has certainly been a tailwind for us. It's certainly benefited the gold equities, and Torex enjoyed the upswing of that. And It's important, I think, that notwithstanding this gold price rush and notwithstanding the bullish outlook and notwithstanding the now reaction from the market to the gold equities, it took a minute to get there, but now it seems like the market's coming alive for gold equities. It's incumbent upon CEOs and gold companies, Torex will be among them, to remain disciplined on capital allocation to make sure you're not buying assets at the peak of the market for peak prices. And in terms of production and cash flow, to remain extremely disciplined on costs. That's one of the things we do really well at Torex. We are committed to running a profitable business through any price cycle. And so the upside we see in the gold price is upside in margin for us. And we can take that cash and reinvest it in the business, reinvest it in communities, and return some to our shareholders.
You've mentioned a few times the success of Torex has been down to its people. I suppose what is the secret behind attracting the right staff and also retaining the people that you employ? And I suppose, what is the culture that you've developed within the organisation to be where you are now? Because I know, having spoken to you over the last few years, that culture's very important to Torex Gold. So just wonder if you can share with us how you've developed that culture, attracted top talent, and retained them as well.
Yeah, in terms of the Torex culture, I think it's pretty unique. In a sentence, I often like to describe the culture as we work at a place where people come to work and willingly give the best they've got every day. Every day. And that means that we are agile, we are open with information, we work a fairly flat structure, and so it's not deeply hierarchical. We work together to get decisions made. We don't always get them right, but if we get them wrong, we know it as soon as possible, and then we course correct. Every mistake is an opportunity for learning. That's very much the culture we have created. And I do think that this next generation of miners wants to be a part of something that does good in the world. And we talked about that a little bit. So it's one thing to make money. It's one thing to generate profit. It's one thing to maintain margins and expand them as the gold price rises, which we do. But we also do so much good in the world. And people come to Torex because they want to be a part of a team where they're pushed to do their best. They're developed and they're made to do things that make them uncomfortable, because when you are uncomfortable, you are growing and learning, and it happens in a safe environment because everybody is there to support you in your personal development plans and in the trajectory of Torex. And we do good in the communities. Your viewers, I don't know if they've seen it, but we've been the subject of a documentary filmed by the World Gold Council called Gold, The Journey Continues. And it really is a testament to the essence of Torex and what we believe about bringing mining to remote communities and how that can be a hand up in economic development and enriching the lives of people who work for us. In terms of attraction, I mean, now that we've built this Torex culture and this Torex reputation, people want to come to Torex. And so we often don't use headhunters anymore. We put out advertisements for positions and get hundreds of applicants because it really is a special place to work. And I have to tell you, Rob, as the CEO, as we're now doing M&A, I have this theory that scale breaks things, that big companies have difficult times maintaining this agile, open, flat, decision-making, supportive culture. And I want to be the company that builds big and maintains all of the excellence of what I would describe loosely as the Torex way. I think we can do it. I've got lots of ideas about that. And so we're on our way to growth, to being a big company, but maintaining the best of what it means to be small and agile and mid-tier. Exciting times for us.
Yeah. Obviously, with the completion of the Reyna project and two obviously recent acquisitions under your belt now, what is the forward look for Torex in terms of some of your key priorities and I suppose your strategic outlook?
Yeah, I mean, I've touched on it throughout the course of the discussion, but I think I'll take this opportunity to summarize it. And so Media Luna's done. So Morelos now, we have what I would describe as our cornerstone asset, our flagship asset. Every company needs a foundational asset from which to build out the company. Ours happens to be huge and generate huge amounts of cash. And so that enables us to now move and move quickly and move opportunistically. And so now the conversation gets to, with all of this capital that we're generating, how do we want to allocate it in a way that's going to deliver superior value to our investors? And it gets us to the conversation around M&A. What I will say about M&A, we've made 2 moves here over the course of the summer. We will remain disciplined, notwithstanding the gold run here. And we don't have to do a deal. We know where our production's coming from. We know where our cash flow is coming from. So we can do exactly what we've been doing, get to know the playing field, know what's out there, and be opportunistic and patient and disciplined and do the right deal at the right time. So the near-term look here is pretty brilliant. We're turning free cash flow positive this quarter. It'll be the first quarter in 3 years since we built Media Luna. We'll return capital to shareholders. That will come in the form of buybacks. We've already started to buy back some of our shares. It will also come in the form of what I would describe as a sensible but sustainable dividend. Our investors will hear more about that later on this year. We will successfully ramp up the Media Luna mine to 7,500 tons a day. We're very much on pace to be doing that. We will close the acquisition of Prime Mining later on this year and take full control of that asset, resume drilling. And we will bring our next new mine at Morelos into production, EPO. We expect to be mining out of there by the end of 2026. And I would say in the longer term, it looks excellent. We have plenty of plans to maintain annual production out of Morelos at that 450 to 500,000 ounce level. We'll continue to back the drill bit at Morelos. We have $45 million invested in our exploration program there this year. And given how prolific that asset is, we will continue to invest money there. We'll build Los Reyes. We want to build our next mine and be producing out of there by the end of the decade. We will build out our high quality now exploration pipeline with assets in Chihuahua and Nevada, and allocate capital intelligently so that our investors continue to enjoy the benefit of our hard work here. We had a good run the last 3 years. We've been recognized for that by the TSX. And I would say, Rob, Torex is only just getting started. It's just about to get good.
Yeah, great. Jody, really appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing your story. Talking about obviously Torex Gold, I suppose the success that you've had over the more recent years, and obviously with these recent acquisitions, and I suppose as you've mentioned, the culture that you've built, the Torex way, which is really, really good to hear. There's not many companies that come on the podcast and speak so passionate about their people and maybe forming a culture that could be different to any other company out there. And you've proved obviously success by building that culture and retaining staff, which is obviously in my game, it's recruitment. It is hard to retain staff, and I think you've done something that not many other companies out there can be proud of. So really appreciate you sharing your story. And if our audience wants to reach out to you, if they want to ask you questions and obviously follow Torex and all the exciting things that may lay ahead, how can they go about doing that, and what social media platform channels can they get
Rob,
on?
I think I'm probably the easiest person in the world to find. Jody.Kuzenko at torexgold.com. One of the aspects of our culture is that we're a pretty open shop. We're a pretty straight up group. And so if there are any questions or anybody wants to reach out to me or any of my team, we would welcome that.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you for coming on. Probably due to come on again next year and give us an update. So all the best for the remainder of the year, and have a good start to the next year. And hopefully you can come on in 6 or 12 months' time and give us an update.
Will do, Robert. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed that episode. I did. And obviously listen to Jody speak about Torex and the culture that they built there is pretty unique. So really appreciate if you could share these episodes across across to anyone that you know in the industry. Doesn't have to be just in North America, anywhere across the world. We want to keep educating our listeners and educating the mining industry. So thank you for your time. And until next time, happy mining.
Thank you for listening. Remember to reach out to Rob via the show notes and be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, happy mining, helping each other to improve the mining industry.